Alright, the video from Barry has got me interested in the feast days. I want to take a look at this because I just got it within me that the rapture is going to be happening soon, right? So I really I want to know when this is going to happen, right? Not that I'll figure it out, but I have it within me to try to figure this out. And I made a mistake. And how I made a mistake is right here. I have first fruits here on the 23rd, right? Because when you're reading it, it talks about unleavened bread, and then after the Sabbath is first fruits. And I was like, yeah, you know what? That makes sense that it's after right here, right? Because I was listening to Barry. Usually I would say it was the 16th, and I was like, why did I not do that? And it was because I was actually following along with Barry's video, not to put the blame on him, but I was like, yeah, that makes sense, the way he was saying it. It was like, yeah, but I should have known there was something up because Jesus gave up the ghost on Passover, was put into the tomb, probably sometime in the night, actually. I'm not going to get into that now, but yeah, then we have the first day of unleavened bread, which is a Sabbath. It's on the seventh day. And the day after the Sabbath is here, first fruits. All right? Now, what's interesting is that while reading up on these feast days, I was seeing that the Feast of Unleavened Bread and the Feast of Tabernacles are both on the 15th, and they're on a Sabbath day, right? And then it said after the initial day, there's 6 days, right? And then over here, the 8th day is another Sabbath, right? This is some of the stuff I want to read, but it's going to be off my phone. I got my notes there. So I think this is a mix-up here. The first fruits is the 16th, which would mean, I'll do the count right here. We have 1 Sabbath here, 2 Sabbaths, right? And then we have 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, which would make May 31st the actual first day of Shavuot. But if we don't count the lunar Sabbaths, it would actually end up being here the 9th, or actually the 8th of June for us. Right here would have ended up being the first day of Shavuot, so it would have already started, which would mean it would end on the 23rd. I don't know if the ending has anything to do with anything, but could be, not sure. But yeah, that changes it so that, yeah, either here or here. That would mean here the 14th would be the end if we're counting the lunar Sabbath as a Sabbath, because it actually starts the count. So yeah, it could be here, and this is the last day, the 14th of June. I don't know if that's significant, just a couple days away here. But it actually changes where you count to get to Pentecost, because if I got this correct, if this is Shavuot, at this time, this is where you count 50 days, right? And I don't think I got 50 days up here. But it would put us towards either the beginning or end of August, right? Because if we counted here, we have 7, 14, 28, 35, and then what would be here? 42, 49. So this day would be the 50th. 50th day, which would be Pentecost, right? So let's see if we can figure that out. This is July 1st, so 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, the 13th. And I think this is a Wednesday. Wednesday, July 13th would be Pentecost. Not certain. That's if I got this all right. I'm not saying I do. If I made a mistake here, who knows? Or else I've made another mistake. Hopefully somebody can correct that if they see something. But some of the things I want to go over in the notes to show this is what I have here. I've had these notes here when I was talking to people about the lunar Sabbath in the past. And I have one here about how the Feast of Tabernacles, right? It's also a feast that's on the 15th of the month, ends on the 21st, and the 8th day, the 22nd, is a Sabbath, right? So it lines up with the weekly Sabbath, because the 15th and 22nd on our lunar calendar are always going to be your 7th-day Sabbath, right? So we have here in John chapter 7, verses 2 through 37, the Feast of Tabernacles, right? And verse 37, it says, "In the last day, the great day of the feast, Jesus stood and cried, saying, 'If any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink.'" Right? When we go to chapter 8, verse 1, verses 1 and 2 actually, Jesus goes up to the Mount of Olives, and he comes up early in the morning to the temple, right? And it says in chapter 9:14, "And it was the Sabbath day," right? Chapter 9, verses 14 through 16. So we see that this would be the last day of Tabernacles, which we read in John chapter 7, verses 2 through 37. Early in the morning, in chapter 8, verse 1, is right here in the 22nd, but it wouldn't be Nisan, but it lines up, doesn't matter. And in chapter 9 of John, and verses 14 through 16, we read that it's the Sabbath day, right? So it lines up because that's how it's always going to be on a lunar calendar, right? I got some other notes here, but I accidentally hit something here. Leviticus 23 is a good one to go over. Leviticus 23, going through that, you'll really grasp it, especially verse 39 here talks about also on the 15th day, right, of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, boom, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath, right? It always lines up. On a lunar calendar, you always got the 15th and the 22nd. The first day of the feast and the 8th day after the feast will always be a Sabbath, right? I'm not going to go over every single note here. I'll try to post it in the description later on. What we hear is a very interesting passage from written by Philo in the Decalogue. It's XXX, so I'm assuming that's 30 Roman numerals there. So the Decalogue 30. And he talks about the Jewish feast. And this was written after he was born in 20 BC and sometime before he died in 50 AD. So it was around the time of Jesus being on the earth, right? And at 161, I don't know if this is like verses, how this is broken up, but if you go check out the Decalogue, you'll see the numbers, and it's like little passages are numbered. And this is passage 161. And it says, "But to the 7th day of the week he assigned the greatest festivals, those of the longest duration, at the periods of the equinox, both vernal and autumn in each year." So here he's talking about, like I have here, the spring. We have the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and it's associated with the 7th-day Sabbath here. That's when it starts, and you have a 7-day feast on it. And you would have the same setup for the 7th month, I believe it is, when you would have Tabernacles would also be on the 15th, and it would be another 7-day feast. So this is what he's talking about here. appointing 2 festivals for these 2 epochs, each lasting 7 days, the one which takes place in the spring being for the perfection of what is being sown, and the one which falls in autumn being a feast of thanksgiving for the bringing home of all the fruits which the trees have produced. All right? And I thought that was interesting, like a tabernacles kind of rapture thing there. That got me interested. Lost my place here. All the trees have produced, and 7 days have very appropriately been appointed to the 7th month of each equinox, so that each month might receive a special hour of one sacred day festival for the purpose of refreshing and cheering the mind with its holiday. And that's what he had to say about the Jewish feasts of unleavened bread and tabernacles being 7 days long, and they're connected to a Sabbath day. And the only way they can be connected to the Sabbath day, being on the 15th of the month every year, is that the Sabbaths are based off the lunar calendar and not off of counting 7 days. And yeah, or counting 6 days and then the 7th is the Sabbath. That's not how it goes, right? So yeah, when I read this passage here in Leviticus 23:11, this is what it got me mixed up until I read that from Philo there. It says here in Leviticus 21:11, and he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord to be accepted for you on the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it. So I was like, oh, after unleavened bread, then the Sabbath, then he first fruits, he waves the offering. But it's like, no. It's talking about this Sabbath, which would make it the 16th, would be first fruits. So I had to make this video to do that correction. And now I'm going to look more into this, tie into Shavuot, Pentecost, and definitely looking forward to the Feast of Trumpets and Atonement and Tabernacles. Really want to take a look at that because my gut feeling is the fall as a rapture, but hopefully I'm wrong, and maybe at the end of Shavuot or it's Pentecost. That'd be great, and I'm sure none of you would complain either. So, thanks for watching and take care.